As we sit, it's important to find the ground that we were just talking about in your physical posture. Again, there's no perfection in that. This is a human body with physical limitations. There's a reason that we do ritual or find a cushion that we often sit on, or an altar or a spot in our house where we always sit, because that also creates a grounding experience. It's repetitive, it's the same, it is stable. I often like to recommend people to do a similar type of meditation at the beginning of your meditation, no matter what you want to ultimately do. Tune into the same kind of objects, the same kind of releasing, whatever it is you do, as a kind of grounding to your whole practice. So as we sit, we find a posture which feels supported. On your own, without any elite or mystical training, you could figure out a good meditation posture just by tuning into what makes you feel most stable. What feels like it requires the least muscular effort. And lying down can really work for a lot of people. But lying down doesn't always feel the most stable. Definitely can be the way to get the least muscular effort. And I do recommend, if you're really just trying to do relaxation, lie down and do it. But there's a stability in being upright. There's a stability of alertness. There's a stability of, there's less vulnerability, right? Which can just give you, again, a sense of, okay, I'm safe. And we'll begin with the breath. We're going to start with the head, neck area. So we're noticing the breath in the nose, the nostrils, in the sinuses, back behind the mouth, and down into the throat to the top of the sternum. At first, you'll probably need to pick out individual points in that area. But what we're trying to move towards is a little bit wider kind of attention. So we're feeling the whole breath coming through the nostrils, the sinuses, and the throat all at once. But at first, you probably need to feel the cool air coming in the nostrils, or a little bit of release in the throat. And the number one thing I want you to remember is that you are not controlling the breath. The breath does not need you to control it. You go to sleep at night and you're totally unconscious, and the breathing keeps happening perfectly without you. Well, for most of us, there might be. We all survive the night, so the breathing happens good. And right now, it's not about the perfection of the breath, it's about the actual pattern of the breath, whatever it is. And so we use the phrase attention, not intention. That is, we are attending to the breath. We don't have any intentions for it. We do not need it to be better or worse, longer or shorter, smoother or rougher. And I find the easiest way to tune into this is to wait for the breath. When you breathe out, wait for the breath to choose on its own to come in. And wait for it to go out. You don't hold it. You just stay with it and let it do its thing. For the purposes of concentration, you could label the breath in and out, or just breath. But remembering that the label is not guiding the attention, the label is responding to what you're attending to. So you wait to say in until you breathe in, and you wait to say out until you breathe out. So it might sound like this. In, out, inside your head. Now we're going to move into the chest region, going from the sternum all the way down to the solar plexus and all the way around the rib cage. Again, just feeling the whole area or parts of the area as is available to you, and not controlling when it comes in or when it goes out. And you can definitely notice the relaxation that happens on the out breath. There's a required muscular relaxation for the breath to go out. And you notice that relaxation. Notice that there is a dropping away into the ground. The body sinks deeper into the ground. So let's connect those parts together. So we're doing a much bigger area of the body now. So the nostrils, the sinuses, the behind the mouth, the throat, all the way down into the rib cage, all the way around down to the spine, down to the solar plexus. And again, we're not following the breath like we're following a trail. We're not actually focused on the air of the breath. We're focused on the body breathing. And the body breathing is a unified, integrated process. It happens all at once, in concert, in harmony. Now we'll go into the belly region, the abdomen region, all the way down to the base of the body. So right down into the very foundation where we're contacting the seat, all the way up from the lower belly to the top of the belly, up to the solar plexus, all the way around to the spine. So on the in-breath, we'll keep our attention on the belly region. You can even narrow it down to just the dantian, like right below the belly button. And then on the out breath, as it goes out, we start to turn our attention wider and wider to the whole body, to the whole breathing process. First, you can just do the whole torso and head as we've been doing. You could also include the arms, feet, hands, legs. Every cell is included in respiration. But we are doing a little bit of an attentional work here. That is, we're staying going focused in, out, whole body. Focused in, out, whole body. We're practicing a little bit of attentional relaxation. The attention is focused on the in-breath and then relaxes back to the out-breath into the whole body. Now, at first, that making your attention wide might not feel relaxing, just like sitting up straight might not feel relaxing. But over time, you'll start to feel that relaxation in releasing your attention into a wider experience. When you start to notice that, you could ask yourself an inquiry question. What is the ground that my attention is releasing into when I widen it? When I relax my attention wider, what is the ground that it is landing on? Not an intellectual question to be answered by the mind, but an experiential question to be answered in experience, in direct experience. In, out. whole body. So another thing you might start to notice is if, for instance, if you're holding you're attending your tension on your in-breath on the belly. And as you breathe out, you're letting your attention expand to the whole body or just to the whole torso or whatever you're doing. Attention is moving, right? Attention is not staying in one place. It's changing. Attention itself is changing. What is it changing within? Where does it move within? If I move from one part of the room to the next, I'm moving within the room or I'm moving within space. Just notice if you're making any kind of tense effort and see if you can't release that a little bit. Notice if there's any parts of your body that are holding tension that don't need to be holding the tension right now. You don't need to force anything to relax. It's okay if there's tension in the body. That's fine. Just notice, oh, this tension can be released. Oh, I don't need to hold my jaw that tight. And in, out, whole body. Okay, so we're going to move into global concentration here, which means we're going to release control of our attention. Meaning we're going to let our attention start to flow where it wants to flow on its own. That might mean it stays still because we've just been doing a concentration practice, or it might start bouncing around, or it might flow around. But we're going to notice the attention moving. We're going to be attending to our attention. But we've released another level of effort here. Because we're no longer holding the attention still. We're letting it fly however it wants to. It might be a bird where we open the cage and it just stays there, or it might fly around. But notice that release of effort, and you may ask yourself, what am I releasing that effort into? What is the ground that I release that effort into? Another way of putting it, what is the ground that as I've let the attention flow over, what's the riverbed that the attention is flowing over? If that question doesn't mean anything to you, I just do the practice, which is noticing the attention moving. Attention can move in a variety of ways, and you can just be attentive to it. You can be aware of it. Attention can be still, or moving. It can be moving smoothly or jumpy. It can move to very narrow kind of attention where you're focused in on very narrow things, or to very wide area. Your attention can be constrained inside your thoughts. So it could be attending to talking or pictures, or it could be out into the world, or it could be in the body, or it could be in the emotions. You are safe right now to not have to control your attention. Does your attention habitually go to pain or discomfort in your body or emotions? Fine, that's fine. Just notice that pattern of it. And what we're doing by letting it move is we're tiring out the pattern. So if we're living inside the pattern, we're making the pattern stronger. But if we remove ourselves from intention and just give it attention, it tires itself out. We can erase the pattern slowly, not intentionally erase. We can let it wash away like a sandcastle washes away in the surf. But that might take some time, and it requires us just to patiently let the attention move around. This is as close as a do nothing practice as you can get without it being a do nothing practice, because you're still interested in staying with the attention. So the only concentration here is why it's called global concentration, is to stay present with globally with whatever arises. It's funny today, I've noticed my camera keeps adjusting its focus. So it sort of zooms in and zooms out a little bit. And it's just like what we do. And we can pay attention to that. You could just watch my face on the screen and not notice that the camera is doing that. Or you could be like, oh, yeah, the camera attention is changing. Same thing with your own attention. Again, at first, this could be very challenging because we want to be drawn into whatever we're attending to. But essentially what we're doing here is we are allowing something to arise into attention, and we are immediately dropping hold of it. Right? We're just paying attention to where attention goes. We're not trying to hold our attention on anything. So nothing captures us when it captures our attention. So what are we doing? We're letting every experience arise and drop into a ground. And so the final question for today would be, again, what are we dropping it into? And this may happen without even asking that question. You might start to feel that attention starts to dissolve. Because as you get less and less interested in what attention is attending to, attention stops to have a function. It stops having a function. And it can start to rest. And when attention finally rests, it rests in awareness. And there's nothing you need to do to make that happen. other than just being awake to attention. Now, there's an intermediate stage there that you might find yourself in where just attention gets wider and wider. You start to feel it's getting wider, but it's still constrained. You can pay a little extra attention to the boundaries of attention, or maybe we could call it the boundaries of awareness. Where am I feeling like my attention is stopping? And not trying to go beyond it, just becoming awake to it. Oh, okay, so my attention is kind of still and it's kind of wide, but it's not infinitely wide. It sort of stops right about here. And you just become awake to that. That's your attention now. It's very wide attention. But you can just become awake to that. Now, something you might want to try on your own is once you get to here, wherever that is for you, this is sort of a place that for you right now is where your attention, the sort of widest place your attention starts to feel safe and grounded. And then you could go back through the whole meditation again, focusing on the breath and the different parts of the body, but seeing if you can't do it from this wider space of attention or awareness, wherever you are. Ultimately, I want us to practice the mindfulness techniques from the widest base of ground that is available to us. This is really the central element of Mahamudra practice, which really mixes the two paths, the direct and the indirect, in a way that seems to be one of the safest ways to practice, because it gives you a sense of safety no matter what you're experiencing. And so wherever you are, do notice the actual physical ground now. See again if you can notice that from a spaciousness. You can notice dropping any intentions into that ground. And I don't just mean this present moment. Drop the effort of your life into this ground for right now. They'll come back, the things you need, but all the things you're struggling to do, struggling to achieve, struggling to control, just for right now, drop all that attention and let it fall into the ground. Just like you're taking off a big suit of armor and letting it drop to the floor. It's not going to dissolve, probably. You can pick it back up if you need it. What is it for a moment to carry less weight? When you do that, there might be vulnerability that arises, and that may not want to go down. It might go up or energize or move around. That's okay. There might have been little birds trapped in your armor, and they need to start flitting around. That's okay. Okay, and then 30 seconds more of really just doing nothing, pure do nothing. Just sitting, we'll call it, just sitting, the Zen term, just sit. Just sitting here, you're not doing anything else, no meditating going on. You're just sitting in a chair or on a cushion, on a couch, or in a car. And when we all just sit, we are all unified by our lack of doing, all together, sort of floating in peace. Love you all. And that's the end of the sit for today. If you want to keep sitting, you're welcome to, of course. You can go through that whole sit again from the wider perspective and see what happened. Or you can start to move your body, letting your body feel grounded, letting your body feel safe, noticing your location. Your location is a grounding experience. Yes, this is where I am in this room. And get up and let your body move how it wants to move. And that will be it for today. See you next week. Facebook.